I think Trump is one of the most destructive presidents and human beings in my lifetime. I think this republic is at real risk, this country being unrecognizable. And I have no patience for people that want to indulge it. I can't stand the crony capitalism. I can't stand all these supplicants that are sitting there bending the knee to this president. I can't stand the universities that have done that, the law firms that have done that, the individual corporate leaders that have done that, the other governors, maybe Democrats and Republicans that have been complicit at this moment. This guy is reckless. He's wrecked this country. We'll not have a fair and free election if we don't continue to fight. That's what matters to me, seriously. I'm the future ex-governor, and who the hell knows what happens the rest of my life, except one thing I know that matters in the rest of my life is I have to look at my kids in the goddamn eye. I mean that, seriously. That's not like a politician thing. To look them in the eye and say that not a peril of being judged, not to have lived in the moment.
Let's talk about Gavin Newsom. He's unveiled his upcoming memoir. The book is called Young Man in a Hurry, a memoir of discovery, and it is scheduled for release February next year, less than a year before Newsom completes his second term as governor. Now, Newsom says that the memoir is a truly vulnerable book and a story of an outsider on the inside. Let's just take a look.
A lot of people look at me, the stark white shirt, the blue suit, and the gelled hair, and they think, oh, I know this guy. I know this guy better than I'd ever want to know him. I get it. This is a story of a kid who always felt like he wasn't quite enough. This is a truly vulnerable book. It was incredibly hard, even painful to write. It's a story about living between two worlds, one of wealth and privilege, and the other of more modest upbringing, the outsider on the inside, the interloper who learned to feel comfortable in many rooms.
I mean, we've got his podcast, we now have a book. Jeff, I wonder why he's doing this. I'm sure it has nothing to do with 2028.
Right. I mean, my gosh, he's an embarrassment for one. Is he trying to make us feel sorry for him? I mean, the vulnerable. I mean, give me a break. This guy has been the best thing for the state of Texas, the best thing for the state of Florida. He's driven
and the
all
worst
kinds
thing
of
for Californians.
Right. Driven all kinds of businesses and people out of his state. I mean, who wants to live under his leadership? Look at what happened during the fires. I mean, look at how he's handled the riots. Look at, what he has done as far as try to antagonize President Trump every opportunity he can. He's a phony. He's a fraud. He comes across as someone that doesn't have one genuine bone in his body. Of course, he's running for president. He's ramping up his rhetoric against President Trump to try to appease the far left in the Democrat Party who are obsessed with Trump derangement syndrome. They just want somebody that's going to attack Donald Trump. So that's what he's doing. And he's seeing Kamala Harris fall. So he says he's got the road to the nomination. Fine. Let them nominate Gavin Newsom. Again, I think that'll be a gift to the Republican Party. We'll see what happens.
But then he is doing well in the polls. It's really hard to believe this, Josh, but Newsom, he's rising in the polls. The latest Public Policy Institute of California poll found that both Newsom personally surged in popularity in the second half of the year, and Newsom's favorability rating has gone up from 46% in June to 56% in November. Josh, why is that? I mean, is it working? Are people believing him when he's doing his bizarre social media strategy with his podcasting? Also on the book, I mean, we've just had Kamala Harris's book and then her media tour was even more painful. And now we have Gavin Newsom's. I mean, haven't we had enough?
Well, a couple of things going on here. One is that California is still a very left-wing state. I mean, there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I remember when there was Gavin Newsom's recall election. This was a few years ago in 2021. A lot of people thought that would be a close election. It wasn't. Gavin Newsom won by a veritable landslide. I forgot the exact margin, 25, 30 points. It was a huge, huge margin back there in 2021. And he's crazy. He's also the first governor he's literally the first governor in the entire history of the state of California to see a population decline. So California, ever since it was established as a state in the mid-19th century, in every decennial census, every 10 years ever since that time, they managed to gain people because everyone wants to go to California. California dreaming. Hotel California. California is where you go to kind of live the American dream, the great Wild West, the new frontier, et cetera, et cetera. He's literally the first governor to be active governor when in the 2020 census, California's population declined since the previous census in 2010. So his policies are atrocious, but there's something of a Stockholm syndrome going on, I guess, in the left-wing mentality. I mean, you look at these outrageous policies when it comes to crime, when it comes to taxation, when it comes to homelessness, drug needles, all the above. And I guess they just say, you know what, sign me up for more of that. I'm just thankful personally that I don't have to actually do so. But I think the second and arguably more important point than just the fact that Californians are generally speaking left-wing is really this. Because they are left-wing, they hate Donald Trump. They obviously, Californians, by and large, despise Donald Trump. And if you can succeed in at least having the optics of opposing Donald Trump, of standing athwart tyranny and fascism and all these various buzzwords they toss about there, if you can successfully convey those optics, then your popularity in a left-wing state is set to rise. That's exactly what Gavin Newsom has done. That's half the point of his podcast and things like that, is to give off the impression, the optics of really standing against Donald Trump. Then you throw into the mix his outrageous redistricting operation there. So I'm not shocked that his approval ratings in California are rising. I personally, Gabrielle, would definitely not approve of Gavin Newsom if I were living in the Golden State, but I am not shocked that Californians, by and large, are approving of him now.
Let's talk about Ilhan Omar. Donald Trump has slammed Ilhan Omar, saying she does nothing but complain during a speech in Pennsylvania.
That's for Minnesota, you know. That's called the great big Minnesota scam with one of the dumbest governors ever in history.
Donald Trump also taking aim at Tim Walz there. But Jeff, this comes amid questions about how much Ilhan Omar knew about this massive fraud scandal in Minnesota. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think she knew a lot about it. I think Ilhan Omar is a fraud because we know that she married her brother, that she is someone that has allegiance to Somalia and not to the United States of America. Again, she's another person that has vile comments constantly about President Trump. She's part of this whole left-wing leadership of the Democratic Party. They're all, getting behind her and supporting her now that President Trump has attacked her. But I think this whole thing about the Somalian fraud going on in Minnesota is a big issue. And she's all intertwined in that. And it certainly hurt, as you heard President Trump say about Tim Walz, it's hurt Tim Walz. I heard a commentator say it's the biggest scandal in Minnesota history. And I do think she is connected to it. I think she's connected to a lot of fraud. And I think we need to investigate her. And from what I understand, that the Trump administration is doing that. She should be investigated. And we've got to look across the country of how many others that are supposedly representing Americans do not have allegiance to this country. And that's what I think she represents, someone that does not have allegiance to the United States of America.